characters in them instead of stereotypes wrapped in Christian dogma?
Why is every educated person inherently evil?
Most people are here to see Fang 9. It's got 2 chains in it.
What's good, folks? Nothing better to do. Special edition of No Judgment Zone today. I have 2 very talented people here. The director and writer of Dear White People and the Star, Tessa. How you guys doing?
Good. I feel so not judgmental.
I know. No, I feel like I'm not being judged in this zone.
And I don't feel like judging anybody.
You directed an amazing movie. When I left the movie screening, it was a whole bunch of different conversations going on. We'll talk about them. One of the conversations, someone said this is do the right thing for today's generation.
Wow.
When you hear comments like that, how does that make you feel?
Scared, man. Do the Right Thing is a masterpiece, you know. Spike Lee's he's a hero to me. He's like an icon. So to even be mentioned in the same sentence it's dope, but it's surreal at the same time. You know, I think I don't know, man. The movie hasn't opened yet. I'm excited to see what people do with it when they get their hands on it, when they get to see it. And I don't know, I can't even process something like that yet.
Now, in the movie, Spike Lee's your favorite director, but you really like, you remember who that was?
I like Bergman.
Bergman.
Yeah.
Line of people.
Line of people.
Did you feel that it was, being light-skinned, do you think people still have color issues where they feel like they have to, make up for their blackness?
Definitely. I mean, I've had people come up to me that have just seen the concept trailer or I've seen the trailer for the film and say how much it resonates with them, particularly women that are mixed race. So I think that that's something that we all go through, or it happens, it happens to Lionel in the movie, who is, identifies as a young black man, and he feels like he's not black enough for the Union because he likes Mumford & Sons. So I think whenever we're boxed into a place based on what people assume about us because of our racial identity, that's an uncomfortable position if you know yourself to be something different.
Right. Where'd you come with the idea for Dear White People?
It was like coming out of the conversations I was having in college, That's really where it started, is me and my friends were having this conversation about how we sort of we have a group of friends that some of which I don't know if we would necessarily hang out with if we weren't all black, and sort of modulating between different groups of people and, making fun of this guy because he would pick up the phone and answer it this way if, a white person called, then when we were just having those kinds of conversations that you have in college, especially when you go to a college where, it's primarily white people at the college. So it was a desire to talk about that experience, but in the language of movies like School Days and Do the Right Thing and Hollywood Shuffle, movies that really weren't being made at the time, wanting to bring that back and have a new conversation was it just came together in my head, and this is the movie that came out. Now,
the movie's set for a while. I was watching one of your interviews where you said you had the movie for a minute, and then one of your friends was like, hey, you gotta make that movie.
Yeah.
What did it take for it to click to say, you know what, let's make this into a real
I just
thing?
couldn't do another year of my day job and not make sure that the passion happened. You know what I mean? It was a project I had worked on, and I would go away and do other things and come back to it and come back to it. And the Stephanie Lane, who would eventually come on board to be our executive producer, she was looking for a screenplay. I wanted to give her this one, and it wasn't ready, and I just kicked myself for not having it ready. And then one of my other producers, Lena Waithe, we were having lunch. She was like, "You really need just do it. Just get it together." And I don't know. It clicked in my head, and I wasn't. I told myself if the movie takes 5 years to happen, on that 6th year, it'll be a much better year than if I don't do anything. And that's just. I kind of stopped going out. People stopped seeing less of me. The hair wasn't really kept up, and I was just sort of like a hermit. And I just was on my grind, making sure the screenplay was good.
But I know you've done a bunch of stuff before. You've been on not sitcoms, television shows and a bunch of stuff before. It's what was it before this to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this acting thing?
I had other interests. I was in school for cultural anthropology. I dropped out of school for a semester just to take a break, and I took an acting class. I'd been doing theater since I was a kid. It was always interesting to me. And then I sort of took a stab at it and suddenly ended up on a television show. But it had been something that was in me and a real passion of mine. But I kind of thought, honestly, that there were kind of better things to do, frankly, with my life. There were ways to contribute that were greater than being an actor. But I think the cool thing is that occasionally I get to do a project like this that feels like I am sort of contributing to something that's kind of bigger than myself. The movie has felt like, that there's a mini sort of movement happening. There are a lot of people that have been hungry for this kind of material, and that feels special and different.
That's what's up. Did you feel funny poking fun at Tyler Perry when you were in a Tyler Perry movie?
No, because I think that's the cool thing about playing characters. They give you license to explore other things that, you know, opinions that you maybe don't necessarily agree with, or maybe you do agree with, and you finally have the chance to talk about it. So no, that wasn't a problem for me. I mean, I think we've talked about the thing that's problematic about Tyler Perry movies, if people think that that's the total sum of the Black experience, and those are the only kind of stories that, you know, Hollywood allows for, then that becomes problematic. But that isn't Tyler Perry's problem. I think that's a sort of a systemic issue, and I think hopefully if this film does well, we can show Hollywood that frankly there's a market for films like this, and then you allow for other voices to come onto the scene. So I think that, you know, that to me it was exciting to be a part of that.
When someone said this with the new Do the Right Thing, I'm not going to hold you up to that pressure, but that's what someone said. When I saw Do the Right Thing, after that, Rosie Perez was my girlfriend.
Are you kidding? She was my girlfriend too, and I was like 3, and I mean when she, honestly, but I think she came onto the scene. There was no Rosie Perez before Rosie Perez, and there was no Rosie Perez after.
None.
I mean,
J-Lo,
but no.
Yo, her life is so fucking dope. She drank with fucking Robert Redford in Sundance.
That's true.
That's amazing.
But his life is super dope because, oh come on, being at Sundance as a filmmaker is like the thing.
Yeah, that was a
I got altitude sick, man. I got so sick at Sundance, and I was so nervous. I was a wreck at Sundance, but it was fun.
This movie has had a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
From Sundance to the trailers that you guys did and the little webisodes, and now this here coming out, you know, it's out now pretty much. What has that ride been like from producing to Sundance, you know, as far as making it and starring in it?
It's been crazy, man. I mean, it's sort of like every time I needed a reminder that this was going to be a thing or could be a thing, because, you know, no one was checking for this movie. Especially when I first started, there was no indication that it would be of any kind of success whatsoever. So it's just, for me, it was just a nice way to just sort of, one, keep the movement going when there was really, you know, we really were kind of out of options, and that happened a few times, and bringing the financing together. But also just, you know, confirmation that people were excited about it and remained excited about it. You know, that concept trailer came out, and then 2 years went by before anybody had a movie to see, and they sustained it. You know, the numbers for the trailer actually grew. I remember we started putting like official stuff on the YouTube channel, like new stuff, and the trailer was still getting the most hits per day. You know, people were just still discovering it and finding out about it. So for me, it's been a big build, you know, build up to this Friday when we open, and I just, you know, I really hope that buzz and that energy and the excitement, you know, translates into ticket transactions.
Yes.
Because that's how we get more movies like this.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to see them without having to spend 8 years making them.
Quick question, I might be the only one who wants to know this. How the hell did you come up with this gremlin concept? That gremlins is really a whole big thing about Black people.
Well, I'm a cinephile, so just like you. And so, you know, I'm kind of, I don't know, I've come across many sort of movie theories like that. And for whatever reason, you know, Sam in my head, you know, she was a film student.
I love that line.
I just thought I was just sitting, you know, this is what happens when you work all day and you're sleep deprived and you start writing at night. Just crazy stuff comes out. That was one of those moments.
So after the movie goes off, and I don't know if this spoils anything, I don't think it does, but you show clips of real people in blackface.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to a white woman who was like, oh my God, I can't believe people still do this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so relevant. I think this movie appeals to Black people, but it should be seen by white people. Do you think the title sort of scared white people away from watching this movie?
I don't know. I mean, when we first put the concept trailer out, and we had an Indiegogo campaign, and when people donated, you see who donated, and it was like right down the middle. Like, we had our Black fans and we had our white fans who really had no fucks to give. They were just like, I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
And when we screen the movie across the country, and we have these festival screenings that sell out, and I show up, you know, it's completely different racially, you know, racial makeups in the audience. Like, I've gone to screenings where it's just all white folks, I've gone to screenings where it's all Black folks, I've gone to screenings where it's everything in the middle. So I don't think so. I think the people who are, you know, really going to be feeling this movie aren't afraid of a title like that.
So I think the next thing I just want to know is, like, what's next for both of you? Like, as far as you, are the offers coming in now? Like, what's next for you guys?
I'm still in Dear White People land for a little bit. You know, I wrote a Dear White People book. Like,
Okay.
you know, Sam has a survival guide book, and I wrote something very similar called, you know, Dear White People, shockingly. And you can get that, and I'm promoting that and promoting this film. I want to see these characters on television. That's something I think that would be really great. And, you know, I'm starting my next sort of, you know, self-written feature.
Like a new, different world.
Hey, I think it'd be dope. I think it'd be really cool. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We call it HU as the Illuminati, because everyone who goes to Howard is part of the Illuminati. What about you?
I've been sent a couple scripts that say Justin Simien is attached to direct.
Well, you know, I'm attached to some things.
He's
We'll
got some
see.
things happening. He's being modest. I made this film after Dear White People called Selma, and it comes out Christmas Day.
You're in Selma?
I am, yeah. I played
Ava gave me my first job.
No
Oh,
way.
get
Ava
out!
gave me
Did she
my
really?
first job. Yeah, she had a website. I forgot the name of it, but I had an article, a column on there called. Don't fucking laugh at me.
I'll try not to.
Politic Bro.
Okay,
It was based
okay.
off of
Politico,
but
Bro. I get it.
Smart.
But yeah, my first gig was Ava.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
I love that 6 degrees of
Who do you play in Selma?
I play Diane Nash.
Okay.
Yeah, in the film. So that comes out Christmas Day. So talking about that film some, and then I'm producing this movie that I'm also gonna be the lead in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
She is a very talented actor. Y'all should follow her on everything.
Very much so.
And I'm very, very excited and
Thanks
pleasure
so much.
for you guys to stop by my No Judgment Zone.
Thanks,
you for
man.
coming
Thanks for
through.
having us.
I know you guys gotta go. That's our show. Join us next week when we massage pigs with pickle juice and then pluck them with thumbtacks.
Whoa.
I'm excited to tune in for that.
Me too.
It's gonna be fun.
What's going on? I'm Justin Simien, the director of Dear White People,
And I'm Tessa Thompson,
a star in Dear White People. And you should be watching Global Grind, and you should be subscribing to it, and you should be
Click.
clicking things on it that are like this, and you should be sharing it, and you should be emailing it and tumbling it. And what else can you do on the internet now? Instagramming it?
I don't
You
know.
just need to
you
do
can
it.
hashtag
If you're
things,
not, you're
too.
kind of losing. You need to be
You're losing
winning.
out.
So get into it.
Grind globally.
I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies. I'm pretty sure MTV was blocked.
It was about time? Yeah. That's what's up. And you got a great shout out from Kylie Jenner. You saw that? That was insane.
Right.